What is the end goal? Um, I've been thinking a little bit about the direction that I am taking my life and how satisfied I'll be with it. Um, I try to make all my decisions, be ones that come from my heart. Like I want to feel it. Like I want to feel like what I want to do is what I want to do. But the problem is, you know, from the way I see it, it seems to be sensible to me that over time we evolve. From what exactly to what extent, I'm not educated enough to speak, but it does seem sensible to think that repetition seemed to be memorized in our DNA and passed down. And a lot of what was memorized through repetition was a result or condition of circumstance. Things were tough and food was scarce and there was no medicine and there was no internet. So to survive in the wild like an animal, uh, we had to be a certain way. And now we've reached this place in human history where you could be comfortable the majority of your life, given maybe some modified perspective on that, depending on what you think comfortable is, what your goal is. But that's kind of the point. I mean, I was listening to something earlier about people who make over $100,000 a year and what their path was to that. And it seems that there are plenty of people out there who they put in a lot of time and sacrifice. And I hate to say work because I think when people say work, each person is going to think, well, I work. So that's a whole nother video within itself. But basically, they did things they didn't want to do, and they got to a place where now they're making over $100,000 a year. But when you get to that point, then what? Like you grow up, you go to school, you hit your 20s, and then you work all your 20s, you study all your 20s, so that you can have the financial freedom that you want to have in your 30s and in your 40s, and you get out, you're about 30 years old, and you start a family and you buy a house and then you become an adult. But are you satisfied with that? Is that what you want in the heart of your hearts? I remember a lady telling me a few years ago about how the process goes, from childhood to being an old person. I think she was about 70 at the time. And, marriage, kids, divorce, or the passing of your significant other. Um, but ultimately, what ends up being the thing that happens is a deeper sense of self-reflection. I think that comes from um, having had your needs met or having had fulfilled the things that you once found to be empty. Um, and depending, I mean, if we're going on her timeline, at 70 years old, how much more time do you have? How much more juice do you have in you to do the things that you want to do? What do you really want to do? Do you regret it? Like right now, I'm relatively young, but I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to, and also how they see me, because I'm told I look young, but that's a relative perspective thing. But if I don't work towards anything now in 20 years, if I don't have any money, easiest way of saying it, that's on me. But what if I work for that? What if I work to be financially successful in 20 years and I end up getting sick and dying? How do I want to spend my time between now and then? What's really important to me? Um, and in my mind, I consider myself to be somewhat of a philosopher, maybe a pseudo philosopher, but I enjoy my thought patterns and I follow them and I see where they take me. And I think that the number one thing that I want in my life is peace, but I also understand that um, uh, not everybody wants what I want. You know, I like if Coach Greg Adams ever happens to hear this, peace, quiet, and freedom. That was his saying. That's what I like. You know, that's what I want. And I mean, it goes much deeper than that. I am trying to keep this video under 10 minutes, but it's been a long time since I've done anything. I've been really feeling uninspired to make any videos. I don't really feel like I know who I'm talking to, um, which I think is kind of what inspired this talk. You know, what are you doing it for? Why? Like, are you doing it for your family? Are you doing it for your kids? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it for your parents' dream? Are you doing it for your future? And there's so many different philosophies and sense of reason that can determine any person's why. But I mean, that's up to each individual. You know, what I want to do is inspire the conversation. You know, hopefully somebody can appreciate what I have to say, and you know, we could go from there. I think that it's a dialogue. Um, like I get on here and I guess I talk on here and I talk in person as if I got it all figured out. But I'm trying to remain humble at the same time and understand that you know there are more people out there than I can count, more people than I'm aware of who are much more educated um, in many different subjects, math, language, semantics. I mean, semantics probably is a subcategory of language, but from my understanding, I feel like it's something to talk about on its own. Um, chemistry, but I do feel that once there is a certain place that each person can reach, where it's kind of like it's the line where it's like graduating high school or something. It's okay. You are ready to enter the real world, regardless of your specific skill set. It's like okay, you possess the intellectual capacities to participate in our society intellectually and responsibly. Um, you have the faculties to come up with conclusions that are reasonable, and you have the empathy to understand how to function with the common person and keep peace and you know keep order in society. Um, I feel like I was gonna say I feel like I got off topic, but I don't know if I was ever on topic for this particular video. But I guess I'm just kind of exploring the just exploring my mind and seeing what comes to me. You know, like I said, I've been pretty uninspired, and you know, if anything were to ever come of this, then you know, it's gonna happen how it happens, but it's not gonna happen by me not putting it out there. You know, it's just you know me sitting here by myself talking to some computer like a fool. But anyways, I'm gonna review this video and see if it's worth its change. If you watched it, thank you.